say the final batch of cards. So we're about 2/3 of the way through. The first new card is this one, the Arcane Artificer, and it's a mage common. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to its cost. And it's an elemental. It doesn't have bad stats. It's like a firefly, right? It's like a firefly with the effect of gaining armor, which is very nice. Outside of the DK, outside of Ice Barrier, Mage didn't have a way to do that. So this gives him that way. Yeah, everyone likes this card too. They're rating this card very highly. You sort of naturally run things like Firelance Portal in a Mage, maybe Blizzard or Flame Strike for a clear. And now that's going to give you a ton of armor as well as clearing the board. This is a good card. I like this card too. It's again incentivizing people to play high cost mage cards, which is interesting, right? I think we're going to see a lot more Pyroblasts with this in conjunction with the cards that Mage is getting in Kobolds and Catacombs. Good. I like them forcing new cards or even old cards that aren't played very much to be played again. I like it. What do you guys think? When I do these reviews, I like to see what everybody's thoughts are in the chat and stuff. Okay. We got a lot of these to go through, though. The next one, again, another Arcane, another Elemental. So they're pushing this... pushing the Elemental synergy from Ungoro again. This doesn't want to load for some reason. There it goes. There's the Tyrant. Okay, so this one costs 5. It's a 5-mana 4/4. Costs 0 if you've cast a spell that costs 5 or more this turn. Again, right? Same theme, except this one's neutral. You can put this in any class, which is quite powerful. Just any type of archetype that's running high cost spells, you can run this in and get it off for 0 on 5 mana or more. It's very comparable to the mostly Arena card, but it was a 6 mana 4/4 that gets discounted every turn it's in your hand. So at 3 on turn 3, if it was in your opening hand, it would be 3 mana. So 2 on 4, 1 on 5, 0 on 6. So this is a faster card. This is a faster card than this one. It's certainly more powerful. It's unfortunately epic. They're making all the powerful cards in this set epic and legendary, which is why it's going to be very expensive. I'm now predicting like $200 to get a competitive set, which is going to price people out. I don't think it's good for the game. I'm going to try and make it. We're going to try and make it here on this stream with all these expensive cards, but certainly the 50-pack pre-order isn't going to be enough for this one. But yeah, this is better than that card, which means it might see constructed play, especially since you consider you can top deck this. It doesn't have to sit in your hand for 6 turns to get free, as long as you're casting a 5-cost spell, right? Something like Nourish, Spreading Plague, pretty good at Druid, Blizzard, Flame Strike, that type of stuff. Again, just free, just a free Elemental too. Again, they're pushing the synergy. I think Elemental decks are going to be back. It's good. It might be a little too good. Free. You play those, high power level spells like Firelance Portal anyway. So I don't know why you need another freebie on top. But it's powerful. We'll see play. Okay. The Benevolent Djinn. 3 mana 2/4 for again an Elemental. Like, they're trying to make people go back and buy Journey to Ungoro packs with these releases. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to your hero. This is a repetitive effect. It's guaranteed to go off once, and then it can keep going off as long as this minion's out there. So it almost has taunt. It almost is like you got to get rid of this thing. So it's not bad. I don't know if a 2/4 will see constructed play, but yeah, it's a nice little annoying minion. It's a nice annoying minion because it has the pseudo taunt with the end of turn effect. Usually pretty strong. Pretty middle of the road about this one, right? Usually you want to run stuff like Outdoor Peacekeeper and Paladin in your 3 slot. What else is good in there? 3 mana for Paladin. I mean, Muster's rip. That's not around anymore. Maybe it has a spot. Maybe it has a spot. If elementals take off, right, in every class again, because of all these elemental synergy cards, I could see it being played. Next we have Call to Arms. Another Paladin card. This one costs 4. And it says recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. So this pulls them directly onto the board. That's what recruit means. Honestly, that seems pretty strong, right? Even if you're just pulling like a double Doomsayer, that's 14 HP the opponent has to kill. Or their board's getting wiped. You could alternatively pull out something like a Wild Pyromancer for like your equality clear. You can pull out those Taunt Divine Shield guys just to be annoying. The 1-drop from Knights of the Frozen Throne. Double Taunt Divine Shield if you have like the Redemption Secret up. Oh, that would be a real nightmare. I think this card is good. It's deceptively good, right? I don't like a card that just says, right, it's not a minion, it just is, it's just pulling random stuff onto the board, but you can make it non-random. And even just for tempo, right, if you get 3 2-drops for the price of 4, could fit in different archetypes even. Right, pull out a bunch of your Murlocs and your Moloch-Adin, buff your Murloc Tide color maybe, or set up for an adapt. Again, almost every card that we see with the epic crystal or the legendary crystal is just really good. You're just going to want to play it, and that's kind of terrifying as to the cost. But it's definitely going to increase the power level of a lot of decks. Hey Grim, welcome. I think you're the first one in tonight. I'm starting with the card review that we'll put up on YouTube later. So I hope you enjoy us looking at cards for a little bit. Today was I'm adjusting my sleep schedule to get towards the 24-hour stream on Friday, and so slept a good amount of it. But now I'm all good. Got the chores done and stuff. I'm gonna try and like stay up with maybe watching some Stranger Things tonight, that type of thing, to try and stay up again and get it shifted. I'm excited to watch that show. I hope it does keep me up, though. I also saw this cool new game on Steam that's like it's like a movie, but you make decisions throughout, right? You're like, should you trust him? Should you not trust him? Do you take the gun or do you leave it? And all that type of stuff. That would be fun to do on stream, for sure. How's your day been, Grim? Glad to see you in here. Okay, what card are we on? I just did Call to Arms. You haven't missed much. We're just on the second row of cards here. Cataclysm. So this is a Warlock Epic. 4 mana, Deathwing effect. So exactly the same as Deathwing without the 12/12. Destroy all minions, discard your hand. It's a powerful effect, and it works with the Warlock quest, which has never been played. But if you can discard your whole hand on 4, you could get that quest completed really fast. It works with the Warlock Legendary from Frozen Throne that just returns to your hand when discarded stronger. It works with the Silver Golems. They get discarded and then get put on the board for tempo. And it's pretty good. You can almost guarantee, like I've been saying, if it's got the epic jewel in this expansion, it's good. It's good. Oh, this is interesting, right? They have right under here, Cataclysm and Malchezaar's Imp do work together. Wow. So I guess before they die, before it destroys all minions, it discards your hand. So the ordering on the card is actually, it's bad. It's opposite. So you're going to discard your hand and redraw your hand if you have an Imp, while destroying all minions. That makes it much more powerful. Very strong card. Very strong card. Oh boy, that sounds apocalyptic, Grim. So in Destiny 2, the devs are just writing a blog? I don't know how the blog's gonna cause that much drama, but I guess it's a big thing in that game. Saying it might bring back players or be the end of the game. I still see people playing Destiny. I see people playing it. There's been a lot of negativity around it, but whenever I open up my my streamers that I follow, there's some people playing it and enjoying it. I know all my cousins were hyped about Destiny 2. I bet they're still playing it, but they're getting into Fortnite as well. I think Fortnite's taken people from a lot of games just because it's so fun to build in that game. Okay, what's our next card here? I think I already talked about all those. Oh yeah, down here. Explosive Runes. Mage Rare. So the rares usually aren't as powerful on this expansion, but this one I think is. New secret is always the more secrets you have in the game, the more secretive they are, which makes them better. After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it and any access to their hero. So that makes it impossible to overdamage. It's just always going to do 6 damage. 3 mana, 6 damage, that's better than Fireball. That's better than Fireball, which is 4 mana, 6 damage. And Fireball's almost always seen play. This can go face as well. And you can tempo out it for free, right? Tempo mages use Kirin Mage to play your next secret for free. They've also got a 1-drop that allows you to play your next secret for free. So you're getting free 6 damage a lot of the time. That's really good. I'm actually glad that they put this in the rare slot, and so that most of the players are going to be able to have access to it on day 1. And we'll have to try out a Tempo Mage with this. It's a really good card. This is in the too good category, right? When cards are rated this high, it's like a no-brainer to include. So I don't know if I like the design that much of just a new secret that goes in every deck, but it's of that caliber. It can set up lethal? Oh yeah, because secrets don't activate on your own turn, huh? So if you're playing another mage, and they have ice block up, if they play a minion into that secret, they're gonna die. Their block's not gonna activate on their own turn. That's brutal. That's incredibly good. All right. Good point. That's why I like when you guys are talking about the cards in the chat. We find new uses for the cards before they even come out. This one, oh my gosh. It's an epic, so it's extremely powerful. It's a rogue one. 4 mana 4/4, so it's got the stats of Dark Iron Dwarf. You don't get the Battlecry plus to attack, but instead you shuffle 3 more 4/4s into your deck. And when drawn, not only does it immediately summon a 4/4 to the board, it redraws. It cycles itself. And so when you pull the ambush, it goes onto the board, and then you pull another card. That's just really strong. Rogues had trouble finding a 4-drop to run. Some people run the legendary that gives poisons. Some people run pirates. Some people run elementals. People try and find all sorts of stuff to put in the 4-drop. Some people don't run them at all. They run the Prince Valinar just because it's a 4-drop. But this one's definitely at a higher power level than any of those, and so it'll see a ton of play. Right? It's a 4 mana 16/16. Now you don't draw it right away. You're gonna have trouble drawing all of them unless you're cycling, like in a Miracle type deck. But it would be powerful in Miracle. It would still be powerful in Tempo. If you get any of the ambushes, it's tons of value. It's a 4 mana 8/8 if you summon just one spider in the game. Yeah, it's tempo, it's control, it's everything. And again, you see that rated on the card here. Rated incredibly good. It's just like an auto include. The rogue needed a 4-drop, and here's a great 4-drop. Yeah, it avoids some of the new clears too, right? The Dustbreaker Dragon from Priest does 3 to everything. Well, it's got 4, and it's 4 attack, which Priest has trouble dealing with. Very good. Very, very good. A good counter against Priest, yeah. Which is kind of needed, because I hate playing against Priests. Okay. Warrior Legendary, you guys. They get a Legendary Kobold. An 8 mana 4/8. Those are very bad stats. Geosculptor, yep. At the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor, up to 10. That's an extremely powerful effect. And so you're playing a very weak minion with a very powerful effect. It's basically requiring you to have armor. This is requiring you to play like a control warrior. They're trying to bring back control warrior that just armors up. This also makes it hard to play the warrior DK, because the warrior DK hero power does not give armor. The initial thing gives 5 armor, but this requires 10. And you lose your armor up hero power. You might be able to combine them in a control deck, but this is more like the old school style, where they go the tank up hero power and have a hero power for 4 armor each turn. That fits really well with this. So this would be good in Wild. It's good with the spells like Shield Block, Shield Slam. We might bring a lot of Shield Slams back into the meta. And that's extremely powerful. This will go off every turn. So it has Taunt, right? This minion definitely has Taunt, because it can be summoning 10 drops every single turn until you remove it. And you're not going to keep up with that. So it having 8 health is what's the relevant thing. And that's not bad for an 8-drop. 8 health's fine. So I think it's very good as well, along with the other legendaries and epics in this set, and the people that rate it well. It does require a specific archetype, Brett, though, right? You're not going to run this in Pirate Warrior. You might not be able to run it in any type of Tempo Warrior, like the Dragon Warriors of old. And so it requires a specific deck. That's the type of card I really love. That's the type of card I really love. So you see some people are disappointed because they can't put in aggro. Good. Good. I don't think cards should be auto-include if they're well-designed. I think it's a very well-designed card. It brings back, cards like Shield Slam that I've seen less play. It brings back archetypes that I've seen less play, like Control Warrior. Very well-designed card. I think Blizzard's done a good job with this one. Quest Rogue. So would the idea of that, Grim, be that you just summon those spider guys? You spider for the quest? The problem I'd see with that line is that they're already 4/4s, so them getting buffed to 5/5 isn't even that big of a deal. Yeah. I don't see it with that card. But some of the other rogue cards, maybe when we talk about them, there'll be some potential for it. The Grand Archivist. 8 mana, 4/7. Bad stats again. That seems to be like what they're doing with the Kobold cards in this expansion. They make them weak but strong effects. At the end of your turn, cast a spell from your deck with targets chosen randomly. That's really Clown Fiesta, right? That's really RNG heavy. I don't think the game needs completely random cards like that, and I'm glad that people are rating it lowly. I think this is a bad card, right? This is when they try and make like, oh look, we've got this online client, so we can make random effects work better than an in-person card game. Okay, great. But people don't feel good when their decks or their gameplay is completely random. They want some skill to be involved in the game. This isn't a skillful card. I mean, sure, you could run only one spell in your deck, but then a lot of the time you're going to draw the spell and this is going to do nothing. Yeah, it's silly. I don't like this at all. Bad design, and I think it's a bad card. Double fail. Grizzled Guardian, 8 cost card for Druid. 8 mana, 3/5. Now, this doesn't really fit with the theme, right? We've been talking about the Kobolds being weak, but this is a lot weaker than the 8 cost Kobolds. And it's not even a Kobold. It looks like a fearsome beast, which should be a lot stronger. So the lore is wrong on it already. Really bad stats. Death Rattle, recruit 2 minions that cost 4 less, so it does bring them directly into play. It's a taunt, so it must be removed. So you're always going to get that effect. Opponent can't go face. You could recruit more minions that have taunt. Just put up a taunt wall. Really annoying minion. What would you want to run, though? What's 4 less? Maybe Tar Creepers? They don't fit in any of the existing Druid archetypes, where you'd want 8 mana card and then Tar Creepers. I don't think it sees play. The design is kind of cool, right? I like the idea of a taunt, Death Rattle recruit. I like the keywords on the card, but I don't... It's weird that it's a Druid card. It's weird that it's a really weak 8-drop. It's a funky slot that doesn't see play. Grumble World Shaker. This is a Shaman Legendary. Ooh, 6 mana, 7/7. I see what they did there. They're messing with the Shaman 7/7s, huh? Well, the old version was 4 mana, so its effect better be powerful. And its effect is return your other minions to your hand. They cost 1. So return your other minions to your hand is bad. Especially in Shaman, where you're generally trying to build a board so you can do something like Bloodlust or Flame Tongue Totem, that type of stuff. Instead, you're just removing all of them, which is quite bad. Them costing 1 is nice. So let's say you theoretically cast Doppelgangster, your opponent can't remove them. You play this guy and get him back, and then you've got a bunch of Doppelgangsters? Maybe. But if you have Evolve, I'd kind of want to evolve them on the board already and start hitting them. Not waste another time with them back in your hand being replayed and sleeping again. It's like an ultra value legendary, where you can just sort of have endless Doppelgangsters, maybe, if they survive for a turn. If they all survive, so that you can play this guy. Very situational. I think it's getting way too high of a score here. Way too high of a score. Like, even with the taunt, the 5/5, which gets its cost reduced for each totem you have, that's free. That already gets free when you have totems. This is actually going to increase the cost of it to 1. If you do this effect. And it's a bad effect. It makes your minions sleep for an extra turn. Maybe this is the minion that I'm most wrong about in the set. Everyone says I'm wrong here, but I'm one of these very few people that's saying, no, this is not a good card. I don't like this card. I haven't played much Shaman recently, to be fair. I don't have the Doppelgangsters. I don't have the Shaman DK. So I don't know exactly how it plays, because I've only played against it. But in all previous versions of Shamans, this would not be good. I don't like it. Let's see about this one. Let's see if I regret naming this a bad card. But I think it is. Maybe I'll be the genius. Shaman Elemental may be a thing. Oh, does he have that tag? He does have that tag. That's nice. That's nice. So, you could do this with something like a Fireplume Phoenix and get 2 Battlecry damage back for 1. You could do it with something like a Blaze Caller and get 5 Battlecry damage for 1. Okay. Okay, that's better. A Shaman Elemental deck, I think this fits in a whole heck of a lot better than even an Evolved deck. I'd be interested in trying that. It might have a place there. That's a fun one to test. Thank you for that idea, Graham. This is testable in that, where you just have really strong battle cries. Not minions that are sticking, but minions that you're just wanting to pew the board with, basically. Or shoot at the opponent's face, even. Could be good with. Okay. Hoarding Dragon. A 4 mana 5/6. That is strong. It's got the dragon tag too. It's immune to Dragonfire Potion. It's a neutral. It's a common. I'm pretty happy about this already. I'm happy about this already. Good for Blizzard for making this a common. A common dragon with good stats. It'll see play in Arena for sure. Death Rattle will give your opponent 2 coins. So the effect is a negative. The effective is a negative. It ramps the opponent. It might be really hard to play in Constructed then. Especially if there's like rogues around who want coins for combo, want coins for auctioneers, right? Even Highlander Priest sometimes is running auctioneer these days. Yeah, that's going to make it hard to play. But it's interesting too, right? You could use this in a mill deck to fill the opponent's hands with coins. It's kind of fun. Man, I really like its stats. I bet there's going to be some tempo deck that runs this. Some tempo deck that runs this. Just because this into like Cobalt Scalebane, you just got giant dragons, right? You got a 5/5, and they'll buff this into an 8/6. Oh, they're just monsters. And Priest will have trouble dealing with it. I like this more than the community does. The Death Rattle's a problem. It's a problem. But the stats are sweet. I don't think we've ever seen this type of stat line, especially on a dragon for 4. That's cool. Hungry Etten. 6 mana, 4/10. What is with these stat lines? These last 2 cards. And it's only a rare. They're giving the monster stats to the more common cards, which means they'll be more likely to show up in the arena. Which is good, because I think they're good cards for the arena. Nice. Blizzard's finally getting their rarities correct. Arena-wise. It's good to see. Its effect is Taunt. Oh my god. That's a gigantic taunt. Battle Cry. Summon a random 2-cost minion for your opponent. 2-cost minions aren't very powerful. I think the most powerful one is like Millhouse Mana Storm, right? He still only does 4. Even in the worst case scenario, this thing still has okay stats. The best case scenario, you're summoning 1/1s, which don't do anything to this minion. What if it summons Doomsayer for the opponent, then the Doomsayer kills this? Yeah, that is the worst case scenario. Is the Doomsayer kills this. It could be an out, though, too, right? Like, if your opponent has lethal on you, play this guy. Play this guy, go for the Doomsayer. That's fun. This one's hard to figure out. It would take a better deck builder than me to figure out if this can work in a deck or not. I think it's like right on the line, which means it's a good card. Well-designed card, I should say. Right on the line. It might see no play. It might come into the meta later. Like something like Blaze Color did. Like something like, I think even Tar Creeper was like, it was in the meta when people tested it, and then it went out, and then it came back in. This is one of those on-the-line cards. Yeah, very hard to give a prediction on it, but I like that it exists. It's good design for sure. It's 4 damage, so Rip Priest, yeah. Yeah, that's a good stat line, and it's very hard to clear, right? You're not going to clear this with something like Dragonfire. Too much health. I like it. I think we talked about that one already, but we haven't talked about this. Okay, another of the Kobolds. Again, with the weak stats, so they are thematic with that. Legendary neutral. 8 cost 5/5 Kobold. King Togwaggle. Battle Cry. Swap decks with your opponent. What? Give them a ransom spell to swap back. What does that mean? Oh, here it is. It's 5 mana swap decks with your opponent. That's not that much, honestly. Right? You've got to pay 8 mana to get this effect, and your opponent just has to do 5 to swap back. I don't feel like that's balanced very well for this to have much of an effect. I don't see this card seeing play. It just is a meme, right? It's a meme like you play this with Lorewalker Cho or something on 10 mana, and then the opponent can't even do this, because if they play this, it goes back to you, and you can swap again, and you can endlessly swap back and forth. Clown Fiesta game. It's a troll card. Really weird that they put the King of the Kobolds in a Kobolds expansion as a troll card. But that's what this looks like to me. Troll card. Kobold Hermit. Shaman. Shaman, 2 mana, 1/1. More of these. More of these. It buffs that Etten guy. And it debuffs Evolve effects. Battlecry, summon a basic totem. Choose a basic totem, summon it. They're doing this with a lot of the cards, the class cards in this set, where they're like mimicking the hero power, but giving you a small body on top. I don't know if I run a card for that effect. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're going to be looking at one for Warlock later. We'll talk about it then, but why do I want to put a card in my deck that mimics my hero power? Not a big fan. 2 mana, choose a basic totem. I mean, sometimes there's times where you're like praying for RNG to give you a spell power totem. So this lets you do it. It's just, do I want, one less other card in my deck to put the 2 mana 1/1 in? It helps fill the board, right? You get 2 bodies for 2 mana, which is annoying. Shaman just fills the board for a Bloodlust, they win. It could see play, but it's a really, really annoying small minion. I'll have to look at some of the others. Look at some of these other cards. Yep, here we go. Here's another one. The Kobold Librarian, Warlock. Battlecry, draw a card. Deal 2 damage to your hero. That's tap. That's life tap. This one's a little bit better though, right? They gave it an extra attack, and they reduced its mana by 1. That's a pretty good stat line for a 1 mana card. And it cycles itself. This one I think is considerably better than the Shaman one. Yeah, everybody thinks so too. Everybody's like, what the hell? Good 1-drops, that's what breaks Hearthstone. It is. That's a good 1-drop. The extra stats and less mana is too powerful of an effect. You want that in your deck. That's a good one. The Warlock Spellstone. Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. Lifesteal. Oh, so it's the same as the Warlock DK with Lifesteal. Oh, same effect too. 3 damage to a minion. So it does 3 heals for 3. But it's 4 mana instead of 2 mana. And it costs a card in your deck instead of being for free with Warlock Gul'dan. So it's got significant drawbacks, but you can take damage from your cards to upgrade. Oh, that incentivizes the 1 mana guy we just looked at even more. And Flame Imp, right? Another 1 mana guy. It's a cool Warlock effect where you damage yourself. I like it. It upgrades to 5 and 7. So it's not like the others where it's an even amount. It starts at an odd amount and stays odd. and only increases by 2. Makes sense because life steal's a duplicate effect, right? It's healing you for as much as it's dealing. So they had to make it less powerful. I think it still makes it more powerful in the end, right? Like if this had gone 6 and 9, 9 would still be less powerful than, what is this, 14 swing? 14 life swing. That's really good. That's really good. I like that a lot. This might bring back even something like Molten Giants. Just because you can go really low on life and then get a ton back. I like that one. It's very thematic. Very Warlock thematic. Lesser Pearl Spellstone. This is the one for Paladin. Summons a 2/2 Spirit with Taunt. I have some issues with the way Blizzard has developed Paladin. It's like they've given him no armor abilities. They've got weapons, but they don't have armor. And they've got tons of healing, but they also have tons of taunt. And if your minions are taking the damage, you can't heal. It's very like a contradictory class right now. I think that may be part of why it's not seeing as much play. It's just not as powerful because its mechanics are clashing with each other, right? Like even look at this. Look at this upgrade. Restore 3 health to upgrade. To what? You're taunting up. Restore health to what? They need to figure out what they're doing with Paladin to make it powerful again. Because this is another contradiction. Upgrades into summon a 4/4 with taunt and then a 6/6 with taunt. Obviously for 2 mana, 6/6 with taunt is awesome. And you do run heals in many Paladin decks, so it's a powerful effect. You'll see play. Their Paladin mechanics are just weird. Okay, the Mage Spellstone. Lesser Ruby Spellstone. Add 1 random mage spell to your hand. More random stuff. I don't like seeing random stuff. Random stuff is what you need to complete the mage quest, though. So it's thematic with them trying to bring back Ngoro and Elementals. And yep, play 2 Elementals to upgrade. Even the Frostless Jaina has synergy with Elementals. So they've continued to especially push hard on Elemental Mage. It upgrades into add 2 random mage spells to your hand, and then it upgrades to add 3 random mage spells to your hand, which is the Kobolds Tome, except it's 2 mana instead of 5. Very powerful effect. Almost all the cards they're releasing in this expansion are powerful, which is going to make it such an expensive set to get tier 1 decks for. But you need to be playing Elementals, right? They're forcing it. They're saying, if you're mage, you're going to need some Elementals. And you're going to need to rely on RNG, because it is going to add random spells. I feel like that's too forced, right? This is forced synergy. Oh, we want to synergize with the quest. We want to synergize with the DK. How do we force them to do it? Not a big fan. Yeah, Grim, the Restore Health, there's the Paladin card we looked at earlier that does have some synergy with it. Where is it? The Benevolent Djinn. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to your hero. So that effect is always going to go off, and it's always going to upgrade your Spellstone for Paladin. But it's again pushing Elementals. Okay. Ooh, this one's new. I haven't seen this card. This is another mage card. Leyline Manipulator. 4 mana, 4/5, so stats of a Yeti. Elemental tag makes it already better than a Yeti. Battle Cry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. That's a gigantic upgrade to, well, the Spellstone we just looked at, the Elemental Mage in general, the Quest Mage in general. That's a card that just says, hey, look at me, I'm OP. Yeah, people agree. It's OP. Because you're mostly limited by mana if you're playing something like a Quest Mage. Even something like the DK, right? You gotta make sure you have mana left over to ping something, to create another water elemental. And this just makes it a lot easier to afford the cards in your hand. Yeah, right? Like, you cast a Kobolds Tome or you cast the Spellstone, you get 3 random cards, and then boom, you reduce their cost by 2. If you have Sorcerer's Apprentices or something, you're reducing their cost by more. There's just a bunch of stuff going on per turn with this card. Very powerful. Very powerful. On Champion, 3 mana, 2/4. If you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. Neutral. It's not bad. Honestly, I'd rather run Tar Creeper though, right? It doesn't have this condition if you control no other minions. You can play it whenever. It's got the elemental tag, which is huge in this expansion. This doesn't. It already has Taunt. You don't need to fit these conditions. It doesn't have Divine Shield, but it's got an extra health and an extra attack from opponents trying to hit into it. So I don't see the rage about this. Yes, this one has 1 more attack on offense, but if you're going offense on this with no other minions, right? The effect is if you control no other minions. That's a problem. I don't like this card. This is another one where I'm going against the grain, saying it's a pretty bad card. Especially with more elemental synergy going in. You're just going to run Tar Creeper in this slot over this guy. Nope, don't like it. Paladin Legendary. Lanessa Sunsorrow. 7 mana, 1/1. Good God. This should be a kobold, right? Their theme this expansion is the kobolds are weak. But this is by far the weakest card we've seen. And it's just a lady. Sexist. Okay, what's the effect? Battle Cry. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. That is obviously very strong. Lots of Paladin decks even now, when Paladin's sort of out of favor, they're running still lots of buffs. They're running the Blessing of Kings, the Spike Ridge Steed. I'm running anything else on minions. Sometimes the controlly ones can do like a Desperate Stand or something. But usually those are the 2 big ones. The Kings, the... Oh my gosh, you could run maybe Dino Size. Oh my god. Yeah, Dino Size would be huge. This is... Yeah. This is one of the strongest effects we've ever seen in Hearthstone. And that's why we've seen... Yeah, this is the weakest stat line they've ever had for 7 mana for sure. Especially on a legendary. The weakest stat line because that effect is so nuts. Right? If you draw this late game, you could cast, 4 or 5 buffs that game. And this will be gigantic. And it's not like you can save a silence for this card, right? If your opponent's casting Tyrion, you want to silence it. If your opponent's cast a Spike Ridge Seed, you want to silence it. You can't be like, oh no, I'm just going to let them gain, 12 health and taunt, or an Ashbringer and Divine Shield. You can't just let them have that because you're playing against this card. I think this card often gets a ton of value. Way better than people are rating it. People are rating it 3.6. I think this is at least a 4.5. All you need is one big spell, right? All you need is one Spike Ridge Steed, which you play ahead of this on curve, which gives plus 2/6 to it, and then summons an additional 2/6, both with taunt. Yeah. This is powerful, you guys. This is no Bolvar. This is not Bolvar 3.0. This is a good Paladin Legendary. In line with, like, Raglite Lord and Tyrion and stuff. Maybe not Ungora belongs to the Titans, but those other two, yeah. Does the buff spells in order? Yeah, it's going to have to come up with some sort of order because Dino Size would override the other buffs, in theory. It's got to have some type of order to it, but I guess we don't know yet until we test it. Oh yeah, somebody's talking about it already. What if I do Kings and Dino Size? Yeah. The order you cast them will be the order they'll be cast on her. Sure. Sure, that's a good guess. It's just good, man. Even if the Dino Side overrides, I'll take the 7-mana 10/10. And it wouldn't override the Death Rattle if there's something like Steed on it. Just 7-mana 10/10 with Death Rattle, 7 a 2/6 taunt. And it would have taunt as well. Yep. Good card. Primal Talismans. Shaman card, 3 cost. Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a random basic totem. Wow, people are really dissing on this card. I think it's better than people expect, right? People are comparing this to like Spirit Echo, or there's some card that's 3 cost and it returns. It's like Death Rattle, return this minion to your hand. And people are thinking that's better than basic totems, but these totems are on the board. They're summoned on the board. So it makes your minions stick rather than going back in your hand and costing mana again. I think this is really good at setting up like Bloodlust. It just prevents board clears, right? I mean, yeah, you're left with shitty totems, but shitty totems do stuff in Shaman. With Bloodlust and with like a Flame Tongue. Makes that one card cost 0 that relies on you summoning totems. It sets up spell power. It's just annoying, right? People run the Primal Fin totem just to be annoying. They're not running Murloc Shaman. They're just like, yeah, I have this 0/3 totem that keeps summoning 1/1s because I want to stick to the board. That's how much Shaman wants to do that. One of these random basic totems is a 1/1 too. Just annoying. I'm not going to say this is an OP card, but I do think it'll see play because it's annoying, and Shaman wants to be annoying. Psychic Scream. 7 mana. Priest Epic. You know it'll be good. Like, my one... Well, I've got a few gripes about this new expansion already. One is how they're putting all the best cards on high rarity. And 2 is how they're giving the best cards to what's already the best classes right now. One of them is Priest. So when I see Priest Epic, I'm like, uh-oh. Epic means it's powerful, and Priest means it's powerful too. So we get double OP. Shuffle all minions into your opponent's deck. That's a different effect. We haven't seen that effect in Hearthstone yet. so I don't know exactly how it'll play out. People are liking it though. So it's a board clear, right? You shuffle them to your opponent's deck. You could shuffle like your Doomsayers into an opponent's aggro deck. That'd be funny. That's good to do. I guess mainly it's just a board clear, right? It's just a board clear. It can also shuffle back in things like if you haven't cleared them out already this game that are like really low cost and they don't want in their deck, right? Like if you're shuffling Fireflies and Firefly tokens back in the opponent's deck, they really don't want to be top decking those. That's gross. So yeah, it's a somewhat powerful effect. It's mainly a board clear though. It's at a good mana cost. It gives you another clear, so that if you're running at the the Shadow Visions, right? You're not just looking for Dragonfire Potion. You could also look for this, which also gets rid of dragons if your opponent's running dragons. This also gets rid of like 4-attack minions, right? Like Ysera. How did Priest deal with Ysera? Well, this one deals with it. It's just another tool in the arsenal, right? If they're running Kazakus, they're running one-ofs in their deck, right? You can only have one Dragonfire Potion. Having another clear like that's good. I don't think this is like as powerful as I was fearing when I looked at a Priest board clear. Maybe I'm wrong on that. It is powerful. I'm just not sure it's... I still favor the Duskbreaker. The new dragon they got, which clears on turn 4 and has a body. I like that more than this. But you combine them all together and you've just got board clear after board clear, which is annoying, right? You Duskbreaker on 4 to clear the board. You play Raza on 5. You Dragonfire on 6. You Psychic Stream on 7. You DK on 8, right? Ugh. What type of a curve is that? It allows, the Kazakus one to just curve out like a god, which is scary. Clear the board every turn, set up your Raza DK combo, shoot the guy in the face with Void Form. Raven Familiar. I think I may have talked about this last time, but I'll talk about it again because I think it's so cool. I love the art. I love the, like, from the Golden Compass. Yeah, the theme. I love that it has the old, like, Joust mechanic where it pulls up things from the deck. You learn information on the opponent's deck. If yours costs more, draw it, and encourages high-cost spells to be played. I like everything about this card. Love this card. But I did think I talked about it last week, so let's move on. Silver Vanguard, 7 mana, 3/3. They're really messing with Evolve in this expansion, you guys. They're putting in really weak minions for the cost. Maybe to encourage more Elemental Shaman instead. Silver Vanguard, Death Rattle, recruit an 8-cost minion. So you have to have an 8-cost minion in your deck, guys. Recruit does not mean like summon a random one. It means it will bring the 8-cost minion that's in your deck. So that's good if you want a specific 8-cost minion. And it's annoying because it's a Death Rattle. So you pop into this thing, you don't know what's going to come out. Boom, it comes out immediately. It'd be great if Rag was still in the game. It's, pretty annoying. Because you can even trade in this aggressively, right? If the opponent doesn't trade, oh, fine, I'll trade. Boom, get my, like, Tyrian Ford Ring or something. I don't think it's a 1.9. It's very weak, right? And weak and slow. Because, the opponent doesn't have to trade into it. It doesn't have taunt. You have to trade it with your next turn, and even the minion you bring out has Sleeping Sickness. It'd be a lot better if Rag was in the game. It's pretty weak, but it's an annoying death rattle, which is sometimes good enough. It helps you with N'Zoth be sticky to the board too, right? So that if you have a N'Zoth deck and you cast your N'Zoth, you have a bunch of stuff on the board, it prevents an enemy from just brawling or some other clear, because it's going to recruit an extra minion to the board. It makes it more sticky, which is good. I'm not quite as negative as these people, but I don't think it's great. I'd put it as a 2-something. A 2-something. Skull of the Manari. Which class is this for? Warlock. Warlock legendary weapon, 5 cost, 0/3. The start of your turn, summon a demon from your hand. This might be the worst one. I think this is the worst one we've seen so far. At the start of your turn, guys, that means when you play it, you don't get it. You gotta wait till your next turn. So Ooze absolutely destroys this. You spent 5 mana for nothing if this gets weapon removed. No effect. That's too bad. People are rating this too highly. The effect is really powerful if it goes off, right? You can get Doom Guards without discarding, if you're even wanting to not discard in this meta. But no, this gets... the opponent plays a 2-mana card, they get the stats of that 2-mana card, and they destroy your 5-mana play. Yeah, no, this is bad. Very, very bad. Okay, let's go to the second page. Sonya Shadow Dancer. I think I talked about her last week as well. But let's revisit it, because it's the Rogue Legendary, which I'm sort of specializing in at the moment. If a friendly minion dies at a 1/1 copy of your hand, it costs 1. I saw Crip's review today where he was kind of saying he doesn't know if it fits an existing Rogue archetype. And I just want to say it does, right? Sometimes you got to trade your Scalebane into something. Sometimes you got to trade your Bone Mare into something. Yes, you'd rather they go face, but adding copies to your hand that cost 1 when they have those powerful battlecry effects is just really good. It's really powerful. It fits into the Prince Kelset decks because it's 3 mana. It's a good card. Spiteful Summoner. Reveal a spell from your deck. Summon a random minion with the same cost. 6 mana, 4/4, epic. Reveal a spell from your deck. Okay, so you're only giving information to your opponent. That's not great. The stats aren't great. Summon a random minion with the same cost. It's got to be expensive to be worth it too. It better be like at least a 4 mana spell if you're getting value out of this. And that's assuming your random minion isn't junk, right? There's now minions up to 7 mana that are 1/1s now. Not a big fan of this card. I think they're rating it too highly. Yeah, it's great if you pull Ultimate Infestation. It's great if you're revealing UI. Otherwise, it's not so great. Temporis? I'm forgetting these cards if I talked about them last time. Your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns. Really sweet mechanic. I love this mechanic. I don't know if it'll work at all. People are starting to think it won't work as much. It'll get you killed some of the time for sure. But if you can have a specific combo that always kills them afterwards, Might be worth playing. It's definitely worth tinkering with. I hope I open this card and we get to create some memes on stream with it. Super new fun mechanic. Congrats to whoever came up with this idea for a card. Really well designed. Playing with time, right? Nozdormu did this in the base game, and they finally returned to that theme with a legendary dragon that messes with how the game works. I want to revisit this card. I talked about it last time, but I didn't realize exactly how OP it was. So this one is immune to weapon removal. It's the only one of these legendary weapons that's immune to that, right? If you use this, you just give the enemy 10 mana crystals, right? They play this on 4, you ooze it, they go to 10. You can't really remove it. Additionally, if you override this with like the Medivh staff, you're going to be able to immediately Medivh, gain 10 mana crystals because you killed this thing, and immediately like UI with your Atiyesh. Alternatively, if you've got the nuts, you can Medivh, gain 10 mana crystals, play Kun, refresh your mana crystals, gain 10 more, then UI for 10, refill your hand, put another 5/5 on the board, and your Atiyesh is going to summon another 10 drop, still have 2 charges left. Like, the combos with this card are absolutely nuts. You can theoretically, on turn 5, with the nut draw, have everything like that. If you've ramped and played this card on your first 4 turns, you can turn 5, Medivh, Kun, UI, random 10 drop, couple more charges on your Atiyesh, full hand. 10 mana. Yikes. OP. This card is being rated way too lowly. This is a possible turn 5 win the game card. And that's a pretty good early turn where the opponent can't really have good removal for 7/7s, for free 7/7s on the board, and free 10 drops. That's a really good card. Oh, I've dropped some frames here. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me turn down the bit rate. Really apologize if it's messed up on the VOD as well. I didn't realize I was dropping so many. Let's see if this this works. It looks like it's still struggling a little bit. It's sort of what we have to deal with internet, guys. I don't know why it's still so shaky. It's been around for decades. But some nights I can stream with like 4 times the bit rate that on other nights I can. Sometimes I can turn it way up, sometimes I have to turn it way down. This looks relatively stable. I'll check back at the end of the review if we're dropping any more. I just lowered it a little bit and it looks to be okay. Alright. Unidentified Maul. This is a paladin weapon. 3 mana 2/2 weapon, not very powerful, but it gains a bonus effect in your hand. The bonus effect can be one of these 4. You can have Battle Cry summon 2 when 1 Silverhand recruits. That's like a muster for battle. Weaker though. That's weaker than muster, because you're only getting a 2-charge weapon. It has 1 more attack, but it's basically like the muster weapon, but you're summoning 1 less recruit. And there's only a small chance you can have that effect, so you can't rely on getting that effect. So that one's not OP. Give your minions taunt. Not very OP. Often against a paladin, you want to clear their board anyway, so they can't use their powerful buff cards, like Kings and Spectred Steed and Dino Size and all that stuff we're talking about, that they're going to be wanting to land for their new legendary. Taunt doesn't mean very much. Paladins have tons of healing as well. You sort of play around them healing. Just no. Blessed Maul. Give your minions +1 attack. Good if you're ahead. Good if you're ahead. Very hard to play in a control deck. You're not going to be ahead with a bunch of minions on board. Random. If you're playing an aggro deck, sometimes you're going to get taunt, which isn't going to be helpful instead. Purifier Maul. Give your minions Divine Shield. That's very good. That's like a Cog Hammer. It's got a weaker stat line than Cog Hammer. Cog Hammer had an extra durability and gave the minion with Divine Shield a taunt. But this can buff multiple minions. Again, you have to be ahead. So these two options are very good if you're ahead. So it's like an aggressive card, I think. It's an aggressive card, which makes this option even worse. And this option's okay. So if you're running an aggressive Paladin, I'd probably put that in there. I'd put that in there. Okay card. People think it's maybe a little bit better than it is. But yeah. Yeah, it'll see some play. It seems fine. Hey Adam, how are you this evening, man? Welcome to our card review. I'll put this whole thing up on YouTube too if you guys missed any of it. There's been so many powerful cards. Really, it's just so many. It's insane. So that's why, yeah, it's like, oh, it seems fine. It's pretty underwhelming for this X pack. Okay. Unstable Evolution. Shaman card. 1 mana, transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. So that's the same effect as Evolve, but it's only in 1 minion. But it's repeatable this turn. So it's got the exact wrong name. It should be called Stable Evolution, because you can cast this as many times as you want to get the minion that you want. Why does it have that name? It's Stable Evolution, guys. Okay, so you've got your 1 mana Stable Evolution, which, yeah, prevents you from evolving into something bad. Because if it's something bad, you just repeat it. That's nice. That's nice. Often they'll get hosed on Evolve, and this prevents you from getting hosed. I think that's very good. Sometimes you're going to be spending multiple mana on this, so it's not as efficient as just a single Evolve. But yeah, it prevents you from getting stuff like Doomsayer and stuff like 1/1s that are really expensive. It's a save your butt card. Save your butt card, and that's very powerful. People are right to rate it highly. Void Lord. Very thematic, this card, right? 9 mana, so you fit it in before your DK Gul'dan. This is good for a demon. Taunt, good for Warlock. You often have HP problems. 3/9, it's triple the stats of a Voidwalker. And Death Rattle, summon 3 Voidwalkers. So it's literally 3 bodies combined into one that then split into 3 bodies when it dies. And they're all demons. And they all have taunt. It's just cool. Really cool conceptually. Now, is it strong enough to see play? I like its mana cost at 9. Crip was complaining in his review that 9 mana cards are less powerful than 10. But you wouldn't want this to be at 10. You'd much rather be reviving this with your Gul'dan. So I like it at 9. 3/9. With Taunt. With Taunt, the HP is the biggest thing. It makes it so you can run less demons, right? This is 4 demons in 1 creature. You could make a control Warlock that just runs the Despicable Dreadlords, 2 of those, and maybe just 2 of these guys. You maybe throw in Voidwalkers if you wanted, but you wouldn't even need to. 2 Dreadlords and 1 of these guys going off is what? You get 4 for this one. That would be 6 demons. That would be basically a full board. Just with 1 of these and 2 Despicables. It's a lot of value to be putting in 1 card. I like it. I like it. It's not going to kill anybody with 3 attack. But you kind of use your Gul'dan hero power to bully people. Anyway, that's how you kill them. Or you fatigue them, right? Because you got lifesteal. I like it. Oh boy, they put a hard word in here. Homunculus? Homunculus? Oh geez. He's vulgar. We know that. He's vulgar. He's swearing. He's got a dirty mouth. And he's something else. He's homunculus. Okay. 2 mana, 2/4. Taunt. Good stats. Really good stats. Battlecry, deal 2 damage to your hero. So this activates your Spellstone, your Lifesteal Spellstone. That's why it has the good stats, because it does do damage to you. Which is anti-thematic to it having Taunt. This is one that really intrigues me. This is one of those that I don't know whether it's cheap plays, so it's well designed. I don't know if you want this in a Control Warlock, so that you can play it after Gul'dan when your health total is safe. If you want it before, so that you can summon back a taunt when you go Gul'dan mode. I don't know if you want it early to prevent aggression, or if you just don't want it because you don't want to take damage early in a Control Warlock. That's a cool card. I love its design. I am not nearly as optimistic as people here saying it'll see play. I mean, the Spellstone's good enough to see play, and this has synergy with it, so it probably will. It probably will because it has synergy with the Spellstone, not because it's great on its own. So yeah, good card. I'll agree with them. Homunculus. Homunculus. That sounds opposite, right? Hue, you're making the O into a U sound, and then Mon, you're making the U into an O sound. That can't be right. Homunculus. That doesn't sound right to me, Adam, but it's just a difficult word. Okay. Windshear Stormcaller. Shaman Epic, 5 mana, 5/5. Wow. Most of the cards in this set have been understated. This one's actually got fine stats. It's got the stats of a Cobalt Scalebane. Cool. Battlecry, if you control all 4 basic totems, summon Alakir the Windlord. Well, that's busted, because that's a free 8-drop, which has every keyword in the game, including Charge, and Divine Shield, and Wind Fury, and Elemental, and so this Battlecry, if it goes off, is one of the most busted things you'll ever see. Usually they don't give out free 8-drops, and it is free because this is a well-statted minion. It's completely free, Alakir. What are they thinking? You do have to control all 4 basic totems, which can be difficult. Right? Like, instead in this slot, you could just run Bloodlust. And you've got at least 4 totems out, which is at least 12 damage already. Yeah. It's sort of weird that it's competing in that slot. And competing where both are super powerful effects. Kind of awkward. And that's probably why it's rated lower than Insane. Because it is insane if it goes off. But it's a weird mana cost, and it's a weird synergy. This feels like a Mimi card. Where it's like, I'm less focused on winning the game immediately with Bloodlust, and I more want to mess with my opponent by summoning Alakir and continuing to crush their board and soul for a few more turns. It seems like a meme card to me. But it's very powerful. Very powerful if you can reliably get the effect. Might be one of the most busted things in the set. We'll just have to see if this is powerful and reliable enough to take the place of Bloodlust. Alright, I think that's all the cards. Let me refresh and make sure I haven't missed any here. I think that's all that have been released so far. There's going to be some more that continue to come out. We'll finish the review next Tuesday at the start of stream. Are you guys excited? Oh, look, here's a new card. One did come out while we were talking. Any others? Are you guys excited for this new set? To play with these new cards? I'm pretty excited. I'm not excited about the cost, how much it's going to cost, but there's definitely going to be new archetypes, and the power level is just going up. It's going up big time. You're going to have, turn 5 gigantic boards, like from that twig thing, ridiculous clears, from the priests, ridiculous board from Rogue, like with this card. All sorts of spiders coming out for free. It's going to be a lot of free OP stuff, right? The free 8-drop from that Shaman card we looked at. Oh my. This explosive rune just smorking. You can't play around it. As soon as you play anything, you're getting smorked. Evasion. Rogue card. Rogue Epic. 2 mana. Oh, this is another secret. The rogues are getting secrets. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about in this set, you guys. The rogues are getting secrets. Evasion. After your hero takes damage, become immune this turn. What? What? Oh my god. Only one thing can hit you. Only one thing per turn can hit you with this secret. Oh my god. That's a very powerful secret for just 2 mana. Wow. It forces people to play like really high punch minions against Rogue. It forces you to run something with like giant power level to hit them with, because your small things, they're not going to be able to hit. You're going to be immune. This combined with the DK that gives you stealth, gives you immunity for quite a few turns. That one I'm really happy about. I'm pretty excited about that secret. It forces some interesting things, right? This is like a meta changer. Somebody's like, well, we gotta run big minions. Gotta run big minions to counter the rogues. forcing control meta through a rogue secret. Didn't think I'd ever see the day. Very, very cool. Now I'm even more excited about the set, you guys. Told everybody they were getting Ice Block. Not quite Ice Block. Not quite Ice Block. Because something gets through, right? So you can't sit on 1 health with this. You can't sit on 1 health. But yeah, it's impressively good. It's impressively good. It has the advantage over Ice Block that everything can't hit you and bring you to 1. You can stay on higher health with this. And it's less mana. It's good. So there's one thing that I do want to mention, which is the dungeon run, the single player mode. I'm not a fan. They showed it off at BlizzCon earlier in the month, and the levels were so easy that they put it in one of the tournament modes, right? Where both teams had to have each player run through the dungeon mode, the first 3 bosses. And everyone on both teams had a perfect record. Nobody messed up on any of the bosses. And every time you start a dungeon run, you're going to have to fight those same bosses. The first one only has like 10 HP or whatever. So there's basically trash mobs. And yes, traditional RPGs, including World of Warcraft, had trash mobs, but in a PvP game like Hearthstone, I feel like that's going to get tedious real fast, having to clear the same trash every time you want to do a dungeon run. So I'm not very happy with that design. I think that there should be a bunch of just hard bosses. They're different, they've got different hero powers, different abilities, and are going to be hard in unique ways for unique classes, unique combinations of cards, but not like a scaling difficulty where every time when you're having trouble with the 8th boss, you have to fight 7 before it that are easy. That feels like I could get bored of it real fast. So I hope I'm wrong and the dungeon crawl is fun, but I think the way they've set up with it, where to get to the challenge, you got to clear trash every single run, is pretty bad.